Welcome to the Winning Hand Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, one card at a time. I'm your host, I guess, LazyTitan, joined by my fellow co-hosts and subordinates, Leethus.
Yep.
And Boomguy.
Well, hello there. This is a new intro.
This is a new intro. I've taken charge. I've taken command of this podcast, and I will now be running it henceforth. I will now abdicate my throne and give it back to Boomguy because he has something to talk about.
Delegation is the hallmark of leadership.
Yeah, really, for sure.
Well, thank you, dear leader LazyTitan. That was an intro to remember. Welcome, listeners. Thank you for joining us. As LazyTitan said, this is Winning Hand, the podcast version. We are celebrating Thanksgiving this week. This is our Thanksgiving episode for 2024, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates. I know a lot of you are around the world, and maybe you don't celebrate this, or maybe you're in the USA and you don't celebrate. That's fine. We do, and so we just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving who wants to enjoy that. If you're in the States, I hope you enjoy a day off, and if you're not, I hope you enjoy a day at work. Okay.
Enjoy Thursday.
Happy labor.
Slave wages. Okay. So anyway, moving on from that, we do have something big coming up. We have a giveaway. So this is something that I teased on the podcast a couple of episodes ago. I have been working with a community creator. Band of Sirens is his name on Discord. We have been working together to create alternate art promo cards for all the heroes. So we started with the core set, and we are running all the way through. We have finished the core set, and they are printed. The Wave 1 is off for printing now. They should be out and delivered to me in a few weeks, and then we're going to keep working on it from there. So this could take a while. Be warned. But as we go through the waves, we will start giving these cards away. That's the point of this. And I will order and print as many cards as I can afford to give away, and we will give them away on the podcast. So all you have to do is use the Google Sheets link either in the description of this YouTube video or in the show notes. If you just click that, that'll take you there. You have to enter some details, your email, so I can contact you to send things to you. And you have to answer a few questions, which promo cards you would like. Remember, this is only the core set for this one. But we are giving away, I'm going to pick 2 winners every Monday in December. So we're going to have 8 people total who are going to get chosen. So throw your name in the hat. You can't enter more than once. I suppose you can with the Google Sheet, but I'll just see that it's you, so that's kind of pointless.
We'll know and we'll cry.
Yeah, I will cry at your attempt to cheat. So please don't cheat the system. I'm trying to give you something nice.
If you cheat the system, you owe us a card.
Yeah, I'm going to demand you mail me one. No, but these cards are really cool. There will be a separate video with Band of Sirens that will be going up very shortly after this one. So look for that on the YouTube channel. That is going to be exclusive to YouTube because it's kind of visual. We're going to show the cards off and talk about the design process. So if you like that, if it sounds cool to you, head over to YouTube shortly after this is posted and you will see that there. We will not have the audio version of that episode because you can't see the cards and it's kind of pointless. And that will give more details on everything, and you'll get to see them. They're really, really cool. So please,
they're awesome.
Yeah, they're really great. And the Wave 1 is awesome. He did a great job, and we are working diligently on these.
No spoilers. I think Tony Stark is my favorite one.
I think the Peter Parker alter ego is my favorite.
I mean Tony Stark, the alter ego specifically. Iron Man is obviously cool, but Tony Stark I think is my personal favorite.
Yeah. They're really great. So I'm hoping to give these away. I'm going to get in people's hands. So Christmas, we're going to do 2 winners every Monday. I will pick them and contact people, and then we will give away more after that as we want to. So, okay. So, yeah, use the form down below. That's quick enough. Okay. I just wanted to start another quick thing before we get to the card of the day. I don't want to drag out the card of the day.
We love that.
There's a lot of things to talk about. So one of the things I want to start doing is highlighting other creators in the Marvel Champions space because there are a ton. If you're listening to this, you are listening to a niche of a niche podcast, and my guess is that you know about some of these. But I'm just going to throw some out and talk about some, maybe not every episode because we will eventually run out, but as I come across them or as I know about them, I'm going to share stuff about them, going to talk a little bit about their channel or their product, and put some links for you to check them out. So if there are creators out there that you guys know, or if you are one, please email me, winninghandpodcast@gmail.com, or drop a link in the YouTube video down below, and we will highlight them. I'm happy to. I don't care how big or small your channel is. If your channel is bigger than mine, I probably don't need to highlight you, but maybe I will anyway. Anyway, so the opening creator spotlight is a podcast called the Marvel Chumpions. Now, Leethus and LazyTitan, have you guys ever listened to the Marvel Chumpions? And it's okay if you haven't.
I have listened to one episode of the Marvel Champions podcast.
Okay. Leethus?
Specific episode.
I feel like I've heard the name before, but I'm not sure. So this is news to me. Enlighten me.
Yeah, I will enlighten you. So they are two brothers who call themselves the Marvel Chumpions, and they talk about all things Marvel Champions. They do hero reviews, hero previews, campaign reviews. They have a segment or recurring series they call Chatting with Chumps. They talk about any number of topics. They also have a versus series where they pit cards against each other. So they pick cards that do very similar things, and they kind of talk through them. One argues for one argues for the other, and they kind of come to an agreement which is better.
I like that.
It's kind of cool. Coincidentally, unrelated, I was recently on their podcast.
What?
That is not why I'm highlighting the Marvel Champions, and I have not been on all the channels that I will highlight. But this is just where we're starting. So I was recently on an episode with them where we did a versus series, and they compared some Shadowcat cards and some Vision cards that were, very similar. Phased Strike and Phased Disruption, right? The one that discards attachments. Anyway, that was one of the cards we talked about, and we kind of debated. They're very similar. We talked about art.
Good matchup.
Yeah. So it's kind of a cool series. So if you like that, they are only audio. They have a YouTube channel, but it's just like the audio that you can listen on YouTube. So if you like audio podcasts and you like Marvel Champions, you will probably like the Marvel Chumpions. There is a link to their Spotify channel in the description or in the show notes if you're listening to this. Please go check them out. Let them know Boomguy sent you, and they will treat you right. So I hope you like their content.
Enjoy.
All right. Whew. Boom, guys. A lot of talking today. Okay. Next up, last thing before we get into the actual episode, I wanted to mention that we are starting a new project with Winning Hand. So we have recently kind of gone to video. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you already know that. If you are listening to this on a different platform, you have probably skipped the last 4 episodes where I've mentioned this. But we are now on YouTube. So if you like listening to your Winning Hand and you like the sultry tones of my voice, please continue to do that. If you like to add that with my handsome face, please do that over on youtube.com/winninghandpodcast. We are over there. But we have a new series starting. I am working with a community member, Andy R., who is kind of known as a deck builder and a deck guy. We are breaking down decks and deck builders and talking about deck building. The first episode comes out on Black Friday, so the day after Thanksgiving, when you were sitting around with your sweatpants on, because we all know why.
Buying stuff. Lots of stuff to buy.
Lots of stuff to buy, and
Marvel
you ate too much yesterday.
Perhaps.
You could buy Marvel Champions if you don't have it all. You can watch a deck series with me and Andy R. So the crux of the series is we are looking at MarvelCDB.com, and we are looking at decks that have not gotten a lot of likes, have not gotten a lot of follows or comments, deck builders that have a very low score, may not have been seen on the front page. I think the front page is often dominated by the same few deck builders, and I'm not throwing shade at them, but I think it kind of, other people sometimes don't get seen when they're on there. So we are highlighting kind of lesser known deck builders and lesser seen decks. So, but we think they're cool. So we play them and we talk about them. So please, if you're into that kind of thing, they're shorter episodes. Please come join us over there and we will talk all things deck building.
A Dexpert, some could say.
We have one on this podcast. You should come on the series sometime, Dexpert.
I have been known to be a Dexpert.
You have been known.
One of my titles, actually. One of my many.
All
I
right.
was gonna say, how many do you have?
Yeah, how many titles do you
Dexpert
have?
and King of Podcasting is one of them now. So
Wow.
I guess that's 2, maybe 3.
Okay. You are the leader of this
Lord
podcast.
of Audio?
Today, so
The Marvel Champion, perhaps?
we do also want to say, as always, please, if you've listened this far and you like it, please rate and review on whatever platform you're on, or drop a like and a subscribe on YouTube. It does really help us a lot. I know we've made it a bit in the past, and I'm not going to ask again and again. Honestly, it does help. That's the last time I'll ask this episode, so thank you. Speaking of thank you, LazyTitan, why don't you tell us about the next segment?
Well,
since you're the leader today.
We were just talking about, well, yeah, I am in charge for in perpetuity. We were just talking about this new series that's coming out, Black Friday. What are you going to do while you're gathered around at the Thanksgiving table? Your family's all there. You're maybe arguing a little bit. Maybe cut the tension. What's the best thing to put on in the background? The Winning Hand Podcast.
Oh.
Nope. Definitely not that. The podcast about Marvel Champions one card at a time. Because nothing gets the turkey going down smoother than the sultry voice of LazyTitan and his subordinates.
Wow.
So this is our Thanksgiving-themed... It was pre-established. It's a reference. It's fine.
This guy.
Oh, okay. I almost made it through that one.
All right, come on, LazyTitan. Tell us about the next segment.
I'm breaking. Okay. This is the Thanksgiving episode, and so we are going to go over a couple of things that we are thankful for in the Marvel Champions space, some of the things that we are grateful to have in our enjoyment of the game Marvel Champions that we all know and love. So why don't you start us off, Boomguy?
Okay, I will start us off. Thank you, LazyTitan, for that introduction.
You're welcome.
You almost made it through cleanly, so we'll work on it. Okay, so seriously, here's what I'm thankful for this year in 2024 for Marvel Champions. I am really thankful for the expansion of the game. I am thankful that we had Caleb for all those years, but Caleb recently announced he's stepping aside from Marvel Champions, and I'm excited that they've added new designers, that there seems to be getting back to a release schedule that's bigger. We're having new content, and I think new designers with new outlooks is great. As we all saw recently from the Maria Hill announcement, I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. I think Tony has done a really fantastic job since he came on with, he started with Mojo, came in hot, and Next Evolution. Like, he's just really going from strength to strength, and I think that's where the game is too. And I'm really excited for the future of the game, and I'm just really thankful that we have all this content for the game that we love. So that's kind of what I'm thankful for.
I'll take it away, I guess. We'll let Leethus go last, because obviously he's got the important one. I will say similar lines. I will say that I'm thankful for the variety of cards we've gotten this year. I think we've seen a lot of new archetypes open up, specifically the upgrades on minions has been a big focus of the X-Men. Upgrades on people has been a big focus, but also we saw the introduction of, I think, Full Body Slam. I think is one of the few cards where the sort of wanting to be at half health kind of archetype that they can build into. Where with the announcement of Maria Hill, we're getting more into an archetype that I've been wanting for a long time, which is Shield in multiple aspects. We got a bunch of Shield cards with the Spider Box, and since then we haven't really seen a lot of it. So some Shield cards in aggression and protection, other than Tac Team, way back when from the core set, is nice to have. I'm liking a lot of the cards they're designing. They're a lot more interesting. They're a lot more synergistic, which I love. And I'm just glad that we have such an amazing team of designers to keep the game fresh and new this many years in.
I'll say this sounds a little cheesy, but I'm going to go with it. I'm thankful for just, the game's existence and, the breadth of characters at this point. So I have a friend who we recently wrapped up an Arkham Horror campaign, and that can be a lot. It was the Scarlet Key, so it was a lot.
Yeah.
And then it was I need a break. There's too much going on right now, and I need to play something that's simpler and breezier and just have some fun with it. And so I taught him to play Marvel Champions. We've played a couple times now. And it's just been a blast. It's really fun to introduce the game to a new person and watch him start to recognize all the combos and card interactions and the things that he can do. I had him play Rocket first, and then I had him play Drax, and they're very different from each other.
Great choices.
And yeah, getting the hang of what each of these characters can do and having that kind of those light bulb moments and having just a lot of fun with it has been a blast. And being able to just set the whole big box in front and be pick one of these gazillion heroes. Pick anybody you want. If there's somebody in the movie, they're probably in the game at this point, and just roll with it. That's a really cool thing to have, and definitely a thing in earlier years of my life, I would have appreciated having something like this. So, yeah. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think, there's just Arkham Horror is a fun game, but it's not a game I can play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I often need a break after it, right? It's pretty intense, and you have to play a lot of games of it to really get through. I often find that I have to play them in short order, otherwise I kind of forget where I'm at with my deck and with the story.
It takes a lot of time, relatively speaking.
Yeah, so then you're playing it, for a lot of days in a row or whatever. So, this is a good palate cleanser, but also it just reminds me of the strength of this game. I really like Lord of the Rings too, but that is just intense deck building, and it's very difficult, and it also feels kind of heavy. This just feels light and breezy, grab a hero, grab a villain, let's go. So yeah, great. Good call, good shout out.
Good shout out. Love it.
Yeah, well, thank you, listeners, viewers. Put in the comments down below, what are you thankful for in 2024, excuse me. What are you thankful for with Marvel Champions? Send me an email, winninghampodcast@gmail.com. Hit me in Discord, Boomguy, and whatever server you're in, or leave a comment down below. I want to hear. I'm curious to hear what you all are thankful for. All right, now let's move on to the conceit of our podcast. Which, honestly, we didn't get that far in. Usually we take longer to get to it.
Usually we do yap for a little bit, but we got to the point,
We can rabbit trail if you like.
There. Yeah, we're just hitting it. Let's go.
Just call the episode now. Good job, us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Well, as the leader of this episode, LazyTitan, why don't you lead us in and either tell us about the card or tell us who's going to tell us about the card?
Like Leethus said, leadership's all about delegation, so I'm going to do it all myself. The card of the day is Spycraft. It is a 1-cost justice upgrade that is traded preparation, notable, and skill. It says play only if you control a spy character. It is an interrupt. When you reveal an encounter card, discard Spycraft, cancel the effects of that card, and discard it, then reveal another card from the encounter deck. It generates a physical resource when discarded, and comes from the Black Widow pack.
Yes, so the art is custom by an artist I don't think we've seen before. His name is Brendan Everett. I don't think I've seen that name in a card before.
I don't recognize it. It may be on some of those, but it's not as recognizable as some of the other ones.
Yeah. Laura De Villari and the other one.
And
some of those
DeVito. I know them.
We see them
on
all
almost
the
all the cards.
They're friends of the show. Long time
friends
listeners.
of the show. Huge friends of the show.
So Brendan Everett, he's one I haven't seen before, so awesome. Leethus, why don't you tell us what is the art? What are we looking at here?
It looks like it's, I don't know if it's a warehouse or outside of a building. No, it's going to be outside of a building. Black Widow is crouched behind a box with fingers to her ear, like she's on a communication piece or something. Clearly spying on a Hydra soldier. And there's some Hydra soldiers in the background loading a truck. And so she's, spying and communicating to the rest of her team about it.
And
pretty much it.
I am going to, I forgot to share the card, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm a little late to the game. Sorry, y'all.
Step it up.
I mean, I'm not in charge of this episode, so if it
making
goes
me
wrong,
look bad.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize, dear leader.
You said you were going to do it all yourself.
Yeah, you
but
did say you were going to do it yourself.
I also said that delegation is the core of leadership and the heart of the team. So
mixed messages.
Okay,
so the art,
me now?
it's a little dark, but I think it's supposed to be. It's kind of moody, right? So she is kind of kneeling behind a box and looks like she's about to pounce or spring or call in some backup or something. I quite like this art. What do you guys think?
I like it as well. I was just gonna say that I'm a big fan of the blue glowy lines on the Black Widow suit. I'm a big fan of that. I don't know what the difference is, lore-wise, but sometimes she's got the blue line, sometimes she's got the all black. I like the all black, but the glowy blue, it just looks really good. It's probably not great for spying to glow in the dark.
Stealth-wise, it probably seems bad.
Just looks sick. It's maybe worth the payoff.
It is. Is it glowy or is it just reflective? That stuff.
Either one's probably not
if
good.
the light is hitting.
This is like the suit she had in Age of Ultron. I think there was just colored lines. I don't think they glowed.
Okay. I mean, it looks, the way that it's drawn looks a little glowy, but it looks awesome. I like this. I think it's very evocative. Like, it really does, make you definitely can, like, feel the scene, right? Like, you know what this is right away. So for me, the art is really strong, and yeah, like, what else is there to say? Like, it's Black Widow. She's crouching. She's doing some spycraft. She's about to take out some goons, some Hydra goons, right? You can see Hydra on the truck. Yeah.
And they're wearing the signature green and brown kind of Hydra colors.
Uniform.
You can tell what they're doing.
Work outfit.
Black Widow spying on a card called Spycraft.
From the Black Widow pack?
They have to buy their own work uniforms, or do you think they're issued?
I bet they're issued, but they pay for them.
Or they get a clothing allowance or something?
I doubt it.
The uniforms are very simple. I imagine they have to sew them as part of their initial training.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't imagine.
Are those
there's
like
a huge
brown
budget for
stripes? Or are they like a belt? Some
I think
kind
they're
of
supposed to be like belts or straps or something to make it look more tactical. But
yeah, I think
I don't know if they actually function. I don't know if I see them using it ever. They're not holding anything on them. He doesn't have like a water bottle or anything strapped to him. So maybe it's
That's true.
Not if you're a utilitarian uniform.
I don't know if it's meant to look that way or if it's just like stripes. I don't know. I bet they get a clothing allowance. Anyone from Hydra who's watching this, winninghandpodcast@gmail.com, let me know. Do you guys have to buy your own uniforms? Or
if anyone wants
to
out themselves as a Hydra member, just let me know. Do you guys get a clothing allowance?
Yeah. I don't know if they're issued or what. I'm just curious. I have questions.
No reason. I'm not wearing a wire.
So, okay, I think this is, it's obviously a preparation, right? So let's go into the theme of this card. Leethus, theme? Tell me about the theme.
Tell me about it.
So, should I talk about preparations real quick?
Do it.
Okay.
You are a grown man. You do what you want, Leethus.
I appreciate that.
Right, let me start.
So, yeah, this card is a preparation. Preparation was a card type that was introduced in the Black Widow pack. Preparations are all upgrades that go on the table and don't immediately do anything. They all have some sort of a trigger condition, and once they trigger, they do something useful. Black Widow herself loves these things. Her kit is kind of built around using them. Yeah, and this one just serves to cancel a card and get a different one. Cancel an encounter card when you reveal it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thematically, I think that's actually really good. Like, it's a little bit weird in some ways. Like, you might want to say it should just sabotage a card and you'd be done. And there's, power reasons why you
can't.
For
really
a one-cost card, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea that whatever the really bad thing is that you just really don't want to face now, you get to sabotage that thing. And, the villains get to do something else.
The villains always
but
have
they don't
another
get
plan.
to do the thing that they were initially trying to do. You stopped that.
Yeah.
And the fact that this can just sit on the table till you want it. It's not a forced interrupt, so like the most famous use of this, I think, is just let it sit and make sure Shadows of the Past never happens.
Yeah.
Or anything.
And that's good enough.
Advance. Like whatever you can't have happen.
It just means one time you won't lose.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
And it is also worth pointing out one of the things that, well, I'm getting into power. I'm getting away from theme. Sorry.
Yeah, let's stick on the theme for a minute here.
Theme-wise.
I think it is
Got excited.
super. I know. This is a fun card.
It's hard not
this
to.
is really thematic, right? The whole thing about controlling a spy character makes it feel even more like you can't, and everyone can play this, which I love because I can't just play this if I'm Iron Man or Spider-Man or whatever. Like, you have to be a spy, and if you are, then you have this benefit, which is
You have
like
to control a spy, which is a
True.
slightly less restrictive,
incredibly,
but a cool one.
it's a good correction. Yes, so you can control, like Coulson is like the famous one, right? Because he pulls in an
Also
upgrade.
grabs a preparation.
Or does he grab a preparation, or what does he
He
grab?
grabs an upgrade.
It's a preparation.
Or is it preparation? Oh, it's right. It's preparation specifically.
Okay.
But
So you have this one, and there's the other one that prevents threat from going on that has Nick Fury on it.
Yeah, counterintelligence.
Yeah.
There's also.
So he's
LazyTitan recognized Justice card.
Oh, I know my Justice cards from back in the Daisy. I used to play
So,
back then before I learned the truth.
They just yeah, I like that you have to control a spy. I like that it's preparation. Skill doesn't super matter yet at any point in the game, but it may.
Could. I think there's.
Matters
I
a
think
little.
Psylocke gets skills.
Who cares about
Psylocke
skills?
searches for skills. She's not a spy, though, which sucks. But notably, this is, I think, one of the only ones that requires a trait, one of the only aspect ones. So it does feel even more spy-themed, because they're not all spy-locked. Even counterintelligence is, I think you can just play it whenever. But it's the only one that you need to be a spy for, and it feels the most spy-y.
Yeah. There's a gray one, right? A basic card that has her on it. And I'm not going to remember the name of it.
I think it's espionage.
Espionage. And that one, when boost effect comes up, no, it's when a surge happens, you draw 2 cards, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's
That's
that one. And then there's the one with a lizard, where whenever you can cancel boost effects.
effect you can
That's
cancel.
Or what that
target
one's called.
acquired.
Target acquired,
Yep.
right. It's the
So
lizard.
you guys got the names.
Espionage I forgot about. It's been
I've
a
played
minute.
a lot of Black Widow.
Espionage is
I have
cool.
not.
It's a preparation too, right? And it's a basic preparation. This one is cool. I think if it didn't have the spy thing, we'd have to increase the cost, right? Like it'd have to be a 2-cost card.
Yeah.
I don't. I would hate this card if it didn't have the spy restriction.
It wouldn't
now
be
that I
as
think
fun.
about it.
I would not like it. I think the spy thing helps the theme a lot. But just
Yeah.
in terms of the card, could we have a 2-cost card that cancels it like this?
I think it'd
That
be
wasn't
a
a spy?
That'd be like an evergreen. Like you include this card in every deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it
probably.
would go in everything.
Canceling cards without any downside is only something a few heroes can do.
I mean,
think
this reveals
only-
another card. So there is
Yeah.
some downside, right? You could something bad worse or
True.
whatever.
There is, but like I think it would be damaging to the game. Like this works and feels good because it has the spy restriction. If it didn't have that, it would just be like Justice players should make sure we never get Shadow of the Past.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
there was a
ever.
card similar to that in Lord of the Rings, right? Called I
Test
forget
of
what it's
Will.
called. Test of Will. That just became like you can cancel a card that comes out, and whoever played Spirit, the blue one, you just had to have 3
You
copies
had
in your
to.
deck because you just had to hold it in your hand because there are some cards that just effectively lose you the game.
Yeah. There's
You
a lot
just had
more
to
of
hold
those in Lord
and
of the
play
Rings.
it.
There's
That's
a lot of cards
boring.
that are just like, oh, you die. No,
That is
there's
boring.
nothing you can do about it, which is
So
boring.
that time it just feels like I'm losing deck slots because I
I have to have this and I have to have that. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe one of those cards where if there was like a meta to Marvel Champions, this would define it. This quite a powerful. This might make Black Widow see more of play in that kind of in that world, but obviously we don't have that because it's cooperative.
I think, okay, Leethus, you were excited to get into power, so dive in. I'm sorry I kept you from it this long, my boy.
No, it's good. It's good.
Let him loose.
I appreciate the restraint, the discipline. Yeah, it's a really strong effect. Like it's a little. You're paying 1 in the card to still have the same number of encounter cards in the end, but like you said, you save this for the one that you really don't want to see. And sometimes it can change based on just play state, right? You're low HP, so I really don't want to draw an assault. Well, let's make sure I don't draw an assault. This can be triggered in hero or alter ego, which is really powerful.
Notable.
It's also one of the few. There are other cards that prevent an encounter card from resolving in some way, but I don't know if there's anything that just stops any encounter card from resolving outside of this. Most things are restricted to like treacheries. You can
The
cancel a
Black
treachery.
Widow can do it. The
Black Widow
ally,
protection card. Yeah.
which is
green
again why
ally.
she's so
That's
good.
Thematic.
She reveals another one,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Same
But-
thing. Which thematic?
but still, yeah. Like most of the time, if you have a counter card of some kind, it works against a card type. This just prevents anything, and that's
True.
incredibly strong. And you can still use it in conjunction with other things. Like it's so good.
I also think Doctor Strange can do it for some reason. I think he has a treachery cancel because he's Doctor
I
Strange.
haven't played him in
but-
so long. I don't want to.
Yeah, I think he has one.
Adam
that just
Warlock can,
cancels
right?
anything.
He has Cosmic Ward.
Oh, there's a couple.
His cancels treacheries, I think.
Yeah, most of them are treachery. I think Doctor Strange
that's right.
cancels,
Yeah, this cancels the entire card,
which
is
is
crazy.
gets rid of Surge and that
A
kind
minion,
of thing.
a crazy minion that
Yeah.
comes out.
Crazy minion,
That's
Surge,
a
Insight.
Good point, LazyTitan's bringing up. Like this does not cancel the when revealed effects. It cancels everything, so it includes
Including
Surge,
Surge,
as well, which
Insight.
is really, really nice.
Whatever.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
stuff
but
just
all
goes
those
away.
nasty minions that come in like the Magneto, those horrible
Yeah, what
Sentinels,
the-
right? That may have
Sentinels?
attachments
Nimrod
and stuff.
or
You can just
something?
cancel the whole thing. That's really
Mystique?
good.
You draw her.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is a really strong, really flexible card. It's cheap.
Speaking of Mystique,
And it's
I
not
actually just
limited
thought
to
of
max
something.
one per player, which a lot of these are. So you could potentially have 3 of these in front of you at a time.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing, I think you can also cancel it from other things than, I don't know if I've ever used it this way, but cancel things other than the reveal phase. So like some of Mystique's cards are when you draw them, you go search and reveal Mystique. If you reveal her that way, you can cancel it with this and then draw another card.
Because she's from the encounter deck.
From the encounter
reveal
decks.
it.
Anything that says reveal from the encounter deck, this can
Unless
stop.
it says put it into play, right?
So if
will
you're doing,
not-
yeah, if you put it into play, but there's some weird use cases like that where you can counter Mystique if you really can't handle minions. If you're playing Justice, not really generally a minion. Excellent.
I'll be
color.
honest. I never
just so
considered
good.
that.
I hadn't either. I just thought of it. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like a quick strike minion, right? That's going to kill you. No,
Yep.
just cancel it.
Yep.
Like,
There's a lot
this
of
is
bad
just
minions out there.
Really good. Now there are not many spy characters, so this is a very limited card, right? There are only 2 heroes that have the spy trait.
So
it's
far.
Black Widow and Spider Woman. So far, right? The Agents of
Shield
Shield is
cycle's probably-
unreleased as of yet.
Probably be a bunch of them.
I think Maria Hill, that was announced, is a spy.
I believe so.
She is.
But as right now, there's 2 heroes, and there's only 5 allies. Agent 13, the basic one. Agent Coulson, who came in this pack. The green Black Widow, as we talked about. And then basic Mockingbird and basic Nick Fury. So there are not a lot of characters you can play this with.
Agent 13 in Captain America spy?
No.
Interesting. Okay. So it's kind of hard to come by, which makes this card kind of hard to play.
Yeah, it is difficult to play. So it doesn't as good. I mean, we're talking about how good this card is, but I haven't actually played this card in a long time.
It's been a while.
like-
yeah.
I'm not being funny. Like, I just don't see this card played a lot by anybody. The only character who cares about preparations is Black Widow, and there's only 2 heroes and 5 allies that you could potentially even play this with. Nick Fury is almost impossible to play it with because you have to time it perfectly because he goes away so fast.
Well, you can
and then
play
the other
it
ones,
if you control him.
right? But you can only control him for like 1 turn because he goes
True.
away.
You
So you
draw
have
3
to
cards
have them
then.
both. That's
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
It's possible.
Like, the timing is rough, and you can't play it with Black Widow, the green one, unless you're playing Spider Woman, who already has it. So you don't
Right.
need
Who
it.
cares? And there's
So
no
I think
red
it's tough, like, to get this into play. So I don't see it played a lot. But the more we're looking at it, and I'm reminding myself, like, this card's really good.
one. Yeah, I think I've put it in every Black Widow deck I've ever made. As long as
I
she's
mean, why
playing
wouldn't you?
Justice, like it's so good. It's a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
preparation for Black Widow. It has a very notable effect, very worth using, and it's cheap for all your Black Widow stuff. So you get to trigger all your things, draw
And
your
draws
card.
you cards, right, if you play an Alter Ego.
Mm-hmm. So it's.
I mean, I think, yeah, the thing is that it's also an interrupt, like you said before, or one of you said before, like, you can trigger this in Alter Ego. So if you're in Alter Ego and you pull Advance or something that's going to kill the main scheme, you could just cancel it still, which is crazy good. Now, I think if Black Widow was designed today, maybe she would have preparations of any aspect. I don't know if that
Probably.
would happen, but I feel like that's becoming more common. Leethus, that's your skeptical face, for those of you listening.
it's got a skeptical face on.
It is my skeptical face.
He packed that with him today.
I don't know how I'd feel about that, honestly. Like I feel
I'm not saying
like
it should be, but I'm saying like it's a good chance if she was designed today that might be a
Yeah,
thing.
maybe.
That was before that happened.
I think I'm glad that she doesn't have it, but
Although Spider Woman
Agreed.
was like the next
That's a
one.
whole
She
other-
had that. Spider Woman was that. She was that release. She came out before her.
Yeah, Spider Woman came after this, so
She had 2 aspects. So they were already.
but nobody
playing
could
with
break
the idea.
aspects at this point.
yeah. Yeah.
True. The next
Um,
one we got after that was it Cyclops?
Adam Warlock,
Adam Warlock. So
and then Gamora.
Spider Woman, and then it was Gamora, and then it was
No,
Adam
Gamora
Warlock.
next. Yeah, and then Adam Warlock.
Okay,
Okay.
So it happened, but it was rare.
Back on track here. So this is a preparation and a skill. I think it's a super powerful, like we talked about. The fact that you can just leave it there, right? The big strike against Cosmic Ward. And we talked about Cosmic Ward. We didn't, but I talked about it with Villain Theory recently in the series that I'm doing on his channel called Every Hero's Worst Card. Spoiler alert, we picked Cosmic Ward as his worst card. And, we talked about it, and the big deciding factor was the fact that it's a forced response. So you play it out, and I have to cancel the next one that comes out. So it's still good
still
because
good.
you're canceling a card. Yeah, but when you look at Adam Warlock's cards, not to talk about villain theories too much, but like when you look at all his cards, they're all really good.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the one we landed on because individually, if you look at them, they're just really strong. And if he didn't have this, like, weird deck building thing, I think he'd get played a lot more. But
It's
it's
just
kind of
frustrating to
pain in the
build.
ass to, yeah.
I like Adam Warlock, man.
But how
I
much
like
do you
him
play
too.
him?
More
like
than
him
you
too.
expect. I didn't
Really?
play him for a
Okay.
long time. Like I probably had him for 2 years before I started to like him at all. I hated him for a
I
long
played him
time.
like 3 times. It's just
But
frustrating
I
for the deck.
like him, but yeah, it's just like such a pain to play him and all the deck building and stuff.
Deep dive on him one day.
And now that
Okay.
there's pool, do we have to?
God.
Do you have to pick? You have
No.
to pick 4
He's
They
still
of 5?
clarified
Pick
this.
4.
It's still 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if
Weird.
you're a madman, you can take pool. And
I would take pool
lose.
over justice. Actually, I'd take it over leadership. I'd rather play justice than leadership.
I mean, if you talk about pool, though, right? Most pool decks, and we're getting off track. I'm sorry. Boom, guys.
We're super off track.
But if most pool decks only have like 4 pool cards in them, and that's just a bunch of basic cards. So anyway,
you just take the triple resources and a couple other things.
yeah.
Whatever.
Getting
Anyway,
back to
I'd never played-
Spycraft, this is a super powerful card, I think. The only thing keeping it from being, like we talked about, an auto include is the spy thing, right? Otherwise, this would see every Justice player would just have this in their deck. It would be an auto include, I think, just
it's
about
very, very good.
as close
in
as
that
we can
sense.
have in this game. I mean, rarely, yeah, because you might get another card, and I guess technically it could be worse. But if you're going to lose the game anyway,
Yeah, it's just an emergency button, right? It'll stop
Yeah.
you from losing one time, and if you draw another one, that means you're probably going to lose anyway. If there are
but
2
you can
cards
just
in
have
a
3
row,
of these in play. You could potentially just 3 things.
True.
In a row. Like, that's just so good.
and if 4 cards in a row would lose you the game, maybe you're bad.
Yeah, or maybe like you're just in such a hole that.
Maybe
Nice
you're
one,
good.
LazyTitan.
It's like an instant judgment.
Okay, so how
like a skill
fun
issue.
is this card?
I think it's fun. I think the ability to... It's one of those things where I don't include it, partially because I don't play a lot of spies, but when I do play Black Widow, sometimes I don't do it, or if I'm playing something where I could, I maybe don't try and sneak in Coulson to play it, because it doesn't sound as appealing as it actually is. To me, at least, it sounds like, yeah, that'd be cool, but like I'd rather probably put numbers out, just because that'll actually win me the game. But every time it happens, every time I have a Black Widow on the field, which is the same effect as this, that's where I'm equating it, or someone else has a Black Widow on the field, it is always super nice to be able to have that eject button of, Shadows of the Past would actually be really bad right now because I am playing Phoenix, so that'll really cause some problems. Let's maybe not do that. Or I'm playing whatever, something with a really bad... I'm playing Valkyrie. Why? I don't know. But I'm playing
to
Valkyrie and
interject.
her...
Go ahead,
Interject.
interject.
There's a thing we have to clarify. The trigger for this is when you reveal an encounter card. So only the controller of Spycraft... The controller of Spycraft can only cancel their own encounter cards. They can't
Good
cancel
point.
encounter
Yes.
cards for other players with this.
I was talking about the Black Widow ally because it's a similar effect, and I've seen that played a lot more. But I'm just saying that effect to be able to eject and cancel one is quite powerful. That is,
I think
that is
that-
very strong, and it feels better than it should.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction, Leethus, right? Like, you can have 3 of these in front of you, but it is only your card, ultimately, that you can cancel. And how do we feel about that?
For all you solo players out there, good for you.
It's no different.
It's not the same card, but for the rest of us, it does feel bad. I feel like I can remember times where I definitely can remember times where if I'd had this in play, it still wouldn't have mattered because somebody else drew the advance. The bigger the game gets, the worse this gets, I guess, right? The chances are that somebody else draws the advance, somebody else draws the ally or the minion, the Ronin minion or whatever that you just can't deal with, and the less the chance it is that you will get it.
Yeah, I mean, my long career in Spycraft has taught me that you are not a very good spy if you're only defeating your own encounter cards.
Yeah, if you're only looking out
That's
for your
a
own
rule
interests, you're not a great
at-
spy.
That we use at Langley, right? We always say,
Langley.
like, if you're only defeating your own encounter cards, what kind of a spy are you? So, but seriously, right? Like, it kind of feels like if you're a spy, you could be able to cancel someone else's, don't you think?
I feel like you should be able
Thematically?
to. I guess that gets us into the question.
Thematically.
Did they
Not
mean
the mechanics.
you as in the players, or did they mean the single person, or what does you mean?
Or did they know what you was when they wrote this?
Who's they? This
Who
is
is any of
the
us?
forever question. What is you? It happens in a lot of card games.
I was gonna make a statement and then realize that they've already designed it this way, so maybe I'm coming around to appreciating this way after the fact. I was gonna say that I feel like it should be canceling anybody's encounter card if it were protection. Which, as LazyTitan said, the Black Widow protection ally does. So I think I'm actually good with it the way it is.
And there we are. It's been said finally. I'm glad we finally said the quiet part out loud. Justice players are selfish and evil, and I'm glad we all know it now.
Wow.
Justice players
The
are
protection
selfish.
preparations are bad.
Yeah.
There's only one I can think of.
We'll have to do an episode on that card one day too.
That's the Hawkeye
Is your
one,
hot take
or
going
they-
to tell me that that's good? That
Not
card?
exactly.
It costs 2 and prevents 3 damage, right? That's what we're talking
Maybe
about.
there's not enough to do an episode on it.
There's the second
It's
one.
not called.
There's the one that readies you when a minion is revealed.
Oh, yeah, that
that
one's
one
even
too.
And
worse.
engages you. Yeah, that's
That
what
one
I was gonna say. That'd be a
is-
wild take. Say that's good. That
That
is
one's getting
up
better
there.
now. Come Get Me Bub has made that a lot better.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel very thematic.
I mean, like,
to
it was unplayable
prepare something.
before.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel very thematic to prepare something and then make it happen, right? Like I'm gonna prepare this for the bad guy's plan and then just cause the plan myself to stop it. Like that feels
Well,
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It works.
you know.
It does work, and I respect the hustle.
The thing about it is, the funny thing, with Black Widow, that card, I forget what it's called. What's it called? Anyway.
Defensive stance.
Defensive stance is the
Anticipation.
damage.
That's the one that prevents 3.
Yeah, anticipation is one that readies.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
The thing is with Black Widow, like if you play it in a Black Widow deck, then the minions engage with you and you trigger the preparation, but triggering the preparation, right, makes you ready with Sinsuit.
I guess you can get 2 readies out of it, right? Because you don't have to.
But you
use
can't
it.
ready twice in the
So
same
you
window.
can just
But you
super
can't.
ready.
You don't.
So
you
it
don't.
doesn't-
You don't need.
So it doesn't
trigger
even really
Sensu.
work with the character it came with. Anyway, it's not about that card.
I don't think it came. with her.
You were telling me
came later.
why the 2-cost one that prevents 3 damage is good,
Defensive
Leethus, and I
stance.
want to hear this blazing hot take to reheat or to cook my Thanksgiving turkey on Thursday. So please tell me why that card is good. That card is bad.
Defensive stance is a bad card in a vacuum. It's actually a good Black Widow card. Because that 2 cost
Gone?
isn't real. You're just going to play it with the gauntlets. And so just dropping 1 card for prevent 3 damage when you're not wanting to flip down all the time is actually really, really good.
I thought she was one of the ones people do want to flip down with all the time.
She generally does, but if you're playing protection, like protection doesn't want to flip down all the time. So
She wants
if
to get her safe house, right?
That's only
Yeah, but
usable
not in
as Rico.
protection.
Like that's the thing. In protection, you're valuing those things less. You want to stay up more because you don't want to generate all the threat. So if you have the gauntlets out, you can play defensive stance for free, and then you still have 4 cards. You can play like an ally or covert ops or whatever else on top of it, and that's a lot of runway. So
Okay.
yeah,
I'll
my
accept
argument:
that.
it's a good Black Widow card. It's bad for
I'll
everybody
allow it.
else, but Black
I'll
Widow
allow
actually
it.
likes
I'll
it,
allow it.
and it's underrated for her.
We were talking about how fun this card is. How fun is this card?
Back to the
guys?
1 card.
Back to the 1 card at a time. This is the conceit of the podcast. We've mentioned like 10 cards.
happens every
Sorry,
time.
Good at our
listeners.
jobs.
So
This is a
always
journey. This is a journey.
Really,
okay.
the podcast was the friends we made along the way. So
How,
it's okay.
how fun is this card? I think one of you already answered. I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
I think it was LazyTitan.
I will
think it
say
was me too.
I don't think it's super fun because I don't think preparations are super fun just inherently. Like it isn't. I really like Black Widow. Here's what I'll say. I really like Black Widow. I really like her playstyle, the reactive stuff. It's really fun to trigger a bunch of stuff on the villain's turn. But playing the preparations doesn't always feel good because you're not getting anything, right? I'm just playing preparations down, planning for bad things to happen later, rather than just like preventing bad things. I don't know. It doesn't feel super fun to play them down because you just play it down. It's like, okay, cool. Like later when
disagree.
an encounter card comes out, I want to have it.
I disagree. I think that's the entire conceit of protection. And you play electrostatic armor and flow like water and dauntless and whatever the same way. Flow like water does nothing when you play it. It's just setting up for later.
True.
So it's the same idea, I think. I think it feels fun to set up and prepare for the villain's turn and get ready to just stop whatever they do. And it feels really good when you go through your turn and your triple boost gets blocked by attack acrobatics, and then your encounter card that's bad gets countered by Spycraft, and then your minion gets shot by lion weight. And it feels pretty solid.
Fair. Leethus, how fun is this?
It's pretty fun. Like, I think I like preparations a lot. Like I've said before, I'm not a fan of cards that don't do anything. Like I talked about this in the build support episode.
And yet,
but with preparations, it like gives you a capability so your risk analysis changes. And I really like that. And when you do get to shunt away like Shadow of the Past, it feels really good. You have to draw another card, so like you're still taking the same number of cards. You just get to ensure you don't take the one you were dreading.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Which is, yeah, it's good enough to play, and it's obviously a good effect, but like not the most fun. Like it's definitely not as fun to me as like the ones that straight up cancel a card and then you just you're done.
Those are like Cosmic Ward. That card's crazy. Except you can't control when it happens.
But
it
still,
makes
just
that next
one less
turn
encounter card.
feel a lot safer.
Yeah, one fewer encounter card is enough.
True.
But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's not like amazingly fun. Spycraft.
I would maybe argue off the topic a little bit that Cosmic Ward is better than this, but it's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. One card at a time, buddy. Okay, so of the four categories we have, art, theme, power, and fun, for me, fun is the lowest one. I just think it's like... It's fun when it goes off, but it's not fun when I play it necessarily. I don't know. Like
I don't draw that distinction in the same way.
Okay.
Like
that's fair.
Because you're still like doing the thing that the card does. And I know like you could say that like, but Leethus, you said you don't like build support because it doesn't do anything.
You said you don't like build support because it doesn't do anything.
Thank you.
I say,
I know.
Shut up. Whatever. We do what we want.
But you have to do something to make playing build support worth it. Like this, the condition is going to happen. Like you're going to face that threat, and this lets you deal with that threat better.
Here's the thing, counterpoint. Because what happens to me sometimes, maybe this is my personality, I'll play this card, a bad encounter card will come out, and I'll say like, man, like this is bad. But it could be worse. So I'll just take this one, and like maybe the next one will be worse. And then I'm in that all game. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of illustrate this, I played Star-Lord recently, and I had 8 encounter cards. Clearly, it's a pool. Star-Lord pool. No, Star-Lord pool. That's the whole name of the game.
God bless you.
I have 8 encounter cards in front of me. I obviously had an amazing turn, and now I have to pay for it. So
we love that.
The first card that comes out, right? I have the boots in play that prevent his damage, and so like obviously the time to use the boots is on the first one. The first encounter card is an attack. So he attacks me. And I think, like, should I use the boots? Well, I have 7 more cards to go. So I was like, I'll wait because I have an ally I can sacrifice now.
That's different.
And I
that's just wrong.
Always use the boots later.
No, that's just wrong.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
And then I saved them in case I need another attack. And then by the time they all went away, there was no more attacks.
Yeah, no,
you all saw where this was going.
That's a mistake in gameplay. As far as this card is concerned, I do get that sentiment. And I think the thing you realize with Spycraft, to get us back on track, the thing you realize with Spycraft is you do that all game. At least I do, where I'm like, it could be worse. It could be worse. It's not shadows. It could be worse. And then you get to the end of the game, and you've never used it, and you didn't need it. And that was just a resource you spent at a time you didn't need to. Ultimately,
2 resources, really.
They're
effective resources.
And I hate that. Nope. We don't have to get into that. I hate effective resources. It's nothing. But that's just a waste of resources you didn't need to spend. Sorry, a waste of a resource.
Yeah. You said resources. Okay.
It's in your deck, though.
Let's... do we have any more thoughts on the 4 categories before we go to final thoughts? Anyone? Okay. Then, nope. LazyTitan, since you're in charge, you are now transitioning us into final thoughts. Which one of us do you want to go first?
Excellent segue into my segue. So let's talk about final thoughts on the card. I think Boomguy, you should go first, seeing as you had the last laugh on that one. We'll give you the first word here and let Leethus and myself respond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am going to give this card an 8 out of 10. I think this card is crazy strong. I think it's really, really good. The ability to just on demand to be able to cancel an encounter card. You know, does she have one in her kit innately to cancel encounter cards? I think, or treacheries? I think she does, right?
Grappling hook.
The grappling hook.
That one costs 2 though.
But it's better.
Yeah, you don't draw another one.
So this, I mean, like, I would love it if this was one of her cards, right? Like, this is just really, really good. I think it's super thematic. I love the title of the card. I love the fact that it has to be a spy character. I love that it's a preparation, which not only the link with Black Widow, but preparation just feels spy-ish because you're like waiting for the thing. You know, you're like doing all your intel and research. Mm-hmm. I love that. The effect is really good. I love all of that. The art is really evocative and fun. So all that works for me. I think it should have been a mental resource because this feels like a mental game we're playing rather than a physical one. But all in all, it's 8 out of 10. I think if they removed the spy thing, I would lower it because it would be ubiquitous. But 8 out of 10, this is a really fun card. And if you're controlling a spy and playing Justice, like, I don't know why you're not playing this card. That's my score, 8 out of 10. Who's next, LazyTitan?
Leethus, why don't you go ahead? Let me have the last laugh here.
Classic.
I'm going to give this one a 9. Like, I really like this card. It's well designed. The theme is great. It does things in a very particular way that makes this card stand out. Again, like, the ability to cancel any card is important. The fact that you can trigger an alter ego is incredibly important, even for Black Widow. Mm-hmm. The restriction of needing to control a spy character is an interesting one, where it's not trait locked to the character you're playing, but still feels appropriately restrictive. So, like you said, the card doesn't become ubiquitous. Yeah, I really like this card. Very thematic, very good for kind of the fantasy of playing the spy. It's just really, love this card.
What was your score?
9.
Just really good. Okay, LazyTitan?
I'm going to give this card a 6.
Oh, is it because it's yellow?
Not only because of that.
2 points off the top for being yellow.
Yeah, this card can never go over an 8 because it's yellow. 9s and 10s are only for red cards. But I think, obviously, strong points. The art, it's great. Very colorful, yet still very nice and muted. Feels like a clandestine kind of operation thing. The theme, great. Spies, Spycraft, came the Black Widow set, preparation, the whole 9. It's what you want. I think the fun and the power of this card is where you lose me. I'll go power first. Power-wise, the thing that kills this card for me is you. Whenever you reveal an encounter card, as a person who's never played a solo game in my entire life, and likely never will, it just... the 50-50 shot that the card you want to get rid of isn't you, and that only goes up. 30% chance that it's the card you need, 25% chance that it's the card you need, so 75% chance you're going to not be able to stop it. Feels bad. Cosmic Ward, and cards like it, like Grappling Hook, feels good because you can just cancel a card. So the benefit of Cosmic Ward is you don't get another one, so no matter what you pull, you're at least gaining some advantage. So you can just burn it quick. If I just play this card and cancel the next Treachery, I've gained nothing. I got a little bit of selection. If it wasn't the card that I was dreading, I got nothing out of that. And sometimes, like you said, you wait for the perfect moment to do this, and it never comes because the card you pull is always some stupid minion. You always get a Hydra soldier or whatever. Like, who cares? And so it doesn't really feel worth it because in that case, if your card is bad, you could just draw a worse one, and it's very likely.
Yeah.
I also, as far as power goes, Spy Restricted is very limiting. Yes, I think it's fun that it's limited. I think thematically it's cool. 5 allies and 2 characters is like less than 1% of the amount of people in this game. That's like nothing. That like the chances of you playing this game is, are you playing Black Widow? Yes, then yes. If not, no. It's just not there's no chance. And I think even if I play Black Widow, I might not even play this.
Coulson,
because I'm playing in
short
2 people. Who plays Coulson? Black Widow.
But
what are we
let
talking
me
about?
interject. You have to control a spy character. That means if you are in hero form, you cannot play this card with Black Widow, right? Because she's
Even
not a
worse.
spy.
Still a spy.
Oh, she's spy.
Still a
Okay.
spy.
It's the other one. Spider-Woman is not,
Spider-Woman
right?
is not. So 1.5 heroes
Sorry.
you can play this as, and neither of them really care that much. Black Widow does, but she's got better versions of this card in her kit that she'd rather play. I just don't think power-wise it ends up that well, and fun-wise, it's one of those cards that you look at all the time and can never play. So no matter like 80-90% of the time I'm building a deck, even if it's yellow, which is also rare, even if I am building a yellow deck, I'm not probably building Black Widow, and if I'm playing Spider-Woman, I'm probably not playing yellow in one of my 2 colors. So, but even if I am, it's probably not going in there because it's so conditional, and I'm probably playing with 2 or 3 or 4 people, and so the effect doesn't really get me anywhere. It doesn't get me any advantage. It costs things. The argument could be made that it thins my deck, but like, there's other cards for that. That's nothing. It doesn't really do enough. And like I said, there are often games. I remember when Black Widow came out. I'll play this card. You can play this card and other things. If you play it and it doesn't do anything and you still win, what was really the point? Right? It's the same as all those resource cards I discard along the way. It's actually worse because I spent money on it.
Yeah. Well, that is
I don't know.
that is a take. Thank you, LazyTitan. I mean,
In
I
fact,
think
I'm going to change
6
my
out of
rating.
10's
4.
Okay. You were
No,
he's talking
no.
himself down.
I'll give it 5 because the art and the theme is good. I'll give it 5.
Quick clarification: Spider-Woman is still a spy in hero form.
Oh, she is. Okay. My
Okay.
bad. My bad.
My bad.
I-
Not 1.5 heroes. 2 full heroes you can play this out of what, 60?
I'm just trying to be accurate here, man.
Yeah,
That's
let's at least
fair.
be right.
Accuracy
I
is
respect
important.
that. Accuracy is important. Especially when you're a
Um,
spy.
Okay. We are all different on this one. 5, 8, and 9. I think it's a really fun card. I'm glad we talked about it. I actually really like when we go back and do old cards. I think that's
agree.
fun. I think often people want to talk about the newest cards, but there's a lot to be found by going through these old cards. I feel like there's a big movement right now where people going through the core set and playing core set only decks. I'm seeing a lot of that. Kind of makes me want to try it.
We were kind of on that first. That was kind of
Yeah, when I
one
had the
card
core
at a
set.
time. I think one of the strengths of the show is that we're not limited by the release schedule.
We started with core set cards. Like our
We do
very
what we
first
want.
episode. Even our second episode also was a core set card.
Talked about arguably
Iron Man.
the core set card, Nick Fury.
Yeah, he was not the first episode, but he was early on. Okay, so that is kind of all of our thoughts on Spycraft. Let me just say before we go, a reminder, we do have the giveaway that starts now with this episode. So please enter, click the link down below or in the show notes, enter to win. We are picking 2 winners every Monday, and I will contact you. If you don't respond within like a reasonable amount of time, I will pass it on to the next person. In the past, I've had to like chase people down to give them the prizes for free that they don't want, apparently. Anyway, this contest will run through episode 54 and then just to the end of December. So please keep entering. Please, try to win some cards. I'm going to give away 2 winners each week and 2 cards to each winner. So you're going to have to click and tell me your email, and you have to pick your top 2 choices for cards. I will try to get everyone their top 2 choices, but if everybody picks She-Hulk, then we can't all have She-Hulk maybe. We'll see. So put your top 2 choices. I will try to get you those 2 choices. If it doesn't work, I'll send you an email and we'll work something else out. But you get 2 cards. So not a full set. Can't give everybody a full set of cards, but I will give everybody 2 promo cards of one of the 5 core set heroes, and they are awesome. So if you want to know more information, there will be an episode soon that I'm doing only YouTube. So go check that out if you want to see the cards in action and then, hear more about the design process. So Leethus and LazyTitan, thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to let LazyTitan sign us off because you are the leader of this episode, and it is only right. So I said my piece about the giveaway, and then LazyTitan, you take it from here.
Well, as we end this episode,
And please make it as awkward as possible and drawn out.
that's a good plan. I think as we all close out this holiday episode, this episode full of cheer, or for those of you who don't celebrate and are still working, good for you. We should all remember,
keep the world going.
Keep the world going. Thank you. We should all remain thankful and grateful for the beautiful game we have, and all its wonderful, amazing cards, even if Spycraft isn't one of them. That's all from us. We'll see you in the next episode. Signing off from LazyTitan, Boomguy and Leethus. Do what you want.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.